go. Yes, we can.
Okay.
Perfect.
So thank you for having me, Luke. It's been great working with you. Yeah, one of the things that's so powerful is, we work on all these things in our lives, our relationships, bad habits, character defects, gaps in skills areas. And it's a bunch of poles on spinning plates. And it's important to take a step back to look at who we are and how to make meaning of that for what we're trying to accomplish, and then lean into the right activities. And so Stephen Covey, who wrote 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, says, if you want to make small changes in your life, change your behaviors. But if you want to make quantum leaps, change your paradigm. Because if you change the way you see things, the things you see will change. It's a level of empowerment that's from within. And as a quick story to illustrate the point, this is a story about a third-string college football player. Didn't usually play, mostly rode the bench. And one such day, they're warming up for the game. And somebody runs out onto the field and whispers in the coach's ear. And he furrows his brow and he calls out the third-string player who's warming up with the rest of his team. And he calls the boy over and he says, son, I've got bad news for you. Your father passed away this morning. And the boy is, of course, visibly, shaken. And he said, yeah, why don't you go call your family? Why don't you go spend time with your family? 20 minutes later, the boy comes back out and says, Coach, I'd like to stay for the game. And he said, are you sure? He said, yeah, it would really mean a lot if you could let me stay for the game. And he says, okay, if you'd like to, sure, of course, that whatever I can do to support you. Now, as the game, gets kicked off, they're playing, and the player comes up to the coach and says, Coach, can you put me in? And the coach feels a bit awkward because he understands the boy's situation, but he's not that skilled. That's why he's third string. And he said, without a solid lead, on our side, I don't really feel as comfortable, doing that. And the boy just begs and pleads. He said, please, just give me a chance today. So the coach is all right. He's thinking I can always pull him out, if he does anything crazy. So he puts him in on defense. And the next play, he jumps up, catches an interception, runs it in for a touchdown. And then he's like, Coach, can you put me on offense? He's like, why not? So the kid is just has this incredible game. He's responsible for a number of touchdowns. And everybody's, high-fiving him and lauding him up on their shoulders. And they get to the locker room. And as people are kind of, petering out after the game, the boy is sitting there looking very reflective. And the coach walks in and says, hey, you had a heck of a game today. He said, yeah, thanks, Coach. He said, I got to ask you, I've never seen you play that way before. What was it about? He said, well, Coach, my dad passed away today. And my father came to every one of our games. And whether I played or not, at the end of the game, he'd give me a big hug and he'd say, I love you, son, and I'm proud of you. And he said, no, that's really kind and that's great. It sounds like you had a great father. He said, but I don't understand. What was different about today? He said, well, you see, Coach, my dad was blind. So today's the first day he actually got to see me play. So as you resonate on that, as you let that sink in, I want you to think about your own paradigm. How can you be more like the player to think, what do you need to motivate you to be able to achieve, to have a paradigm shift to achieve at a level that you've never achieved before? Where can you be like the coach and be supportive and giving people a chance in your life, in your work, to foster a culture of development and support? And where can you be like the father with consistent support, consistent feedback, regardless of circumstance, allowing people to, feel a level of support that's not just dependent upon, distinct behaviors or whatever else. And so that's just an example of taking in a new lens that can color the way that you see things so that you can have more meaningful conversations, more productive outputs of the things that you work on, et cetera. But what I'll tell you about now is our Career Mastery program, where we help people to get better jobs, better corporate jobs. And it's like People come to us for jobs, but that's not what the program's about. It's about, as one person said, I came here for a better job and I'm leaving with a better life. I thank you. My family thanks you. It was an honor to get a chance to go through this program, because we do things to help people get straight, because how you do one thing is how you do everything. You can't separate personal and professional. Now, you can be professional in professional settings, vice versa. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, it's the one human being. And when you are solidified at a heart level, matching strength, unapologetic boldness, gravitas that lacks arrogance, match the level of vulnerability, authenticity, and humility where you're trying to help people. It's a bold combination, and it attracts people to want to work with you, to want to learn from you, to want to be in your sphere. And it's something that can serve people for decades. Luke, can you go to the next slide? So this is 2012. This is my family at the time. I'd worked for a company for 10 years, and I got let go. And I was really surprised. I was doing quite well. And, I had 3 kids between the ages of 1 and 4. My wife there at the time did work, and I was left to figure out how to get a job. And I thought, all right, I'll get my resume keyed up and I'll, do some things on LinkedIn and we'll see what happens. And I wasn't landing anything. And days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months. And I was feeling, one day I woke up and I was working because I was running out of money, and I felt completely emasculated. I felt like I was a failure as a man, as a husband, as a father, as a provider. It was gut-wrenching. I didn't sign up for that. I didn't know what to do with that. So I took a step back. And once I got my confidence back, I thought, how am I going to attack this? And there's a lot of things I'm not good at, for sure. But one thing that served me my entire career is a knack for innovation and the ability to come up with new ways of doing things. And so I applied that to the job search process. And over the next 10 years, anytime I ever needed or wanted to find a job in the corporate space, I could get multiple offers in 4 to 6 weeks flat. I did it 5 times over a 10-year period. I was able to triple my corporate salary. It was incredible. And I made more than my last 2 bosses. And I'm not supposed to know that, but they told me. And frankly, it sounds like I'm bragging. I'm not. I was actually very uncomfortable when they shared that. And they're like, you make more than I do. And I would have no way of knowing that. And frankly, I'm a bit embarrassed that you told me. But I said, why is that? And they said, well, I knew if I brought you on, you'd make me look good to my boss. The work that you were going to do was going to help me get my bonus, and that's worth it to me. I thought, okay, all right. And so basically what I did was, I ended up starting a nonprofit with my partner today and about 20 other people that in, I think, 5 years, there were 20 of us. This nonprofit has grown to over 40,000 people in 52 countries. It's probably more now because it's been, I think, 11 years since we put it together, and was just trying to help people. And I had all of these opportunities coming my way that I wasn't even trying to go after. And just by doing that, I built a brand where I had global recognition for the kind of work that I did. And what I do is I help people do that now. And it's funny because people said, you should do a career coaching program. I said, man, I'm not a career coach. I'm a sales guy. I'm a sales training guy. I was going all over the world training people for companies like Oracle in sales and sales leadership and partner organizations. And they said, no, you've come up with a way to sell yourself to hiring managers and really help a lot of people. And as somebody that's been sober in the recovery community for 28 years, when I hear you can help people, that always is my soft spot. And I was like, all right, let's see if maybe there's something here. And I did 3 pilots of this program and it blew up. And we've been running now for, I think, about 3 years now with the Career Mastery Program. And it's just been an incredible journey of providing support and helping people walk with grace and dignity through what can be a very challenging situation, whether you're in between jobs and you're questioning yourself, or you're in a bad spot and you want to be in a better spot. And that's kind of what I do. So Luke, can you go to the next slide? And so, again, so our program is for people in the corporate space that have, and it's okay. We get people that are, if you're transitioning from the military, it's like, you just have to have enough for me to work with as far as to build a brand around, because it's just based on what the results are that you've accomplished and achieved, so that we can help build a brand around that to help promote that to help you stand out from other job seekers and such. So someone too junior in their career isn't the right fit. Someone that's like, oh, I'm a nurse at a hospital, I'm a restaurant manager, I can't help you. But if you are the LinkedIn crowd, or you are transitioning out of the service to join, the corporate world, we can absolutely help you. And that's kind of the group that we primarily work with. But Luke, can you go to the next slide? So standing out in the job search process, you've got to position yourself as an authority. So it's not about bragging and putting yourself out there like, look at everything I know. It's about, hey, I've done a lot of work for a long time. I've learned a tremendous amount over the years. And I'm sharing how what I've learned can help you, meaning the person, who you're speaking to, whether it's through LinkedIn posting, through networking conversations, and being able to show up as someone that gets results. Because people don't care about activity. Nobody cares about what you do. They care about if you're good at the things that you do, what are the results you achieve? That somebody that did those same activities wouldn't get the same results you've achieved because of the level of skill. I would say you don't buy a coat, you buy the ability to stay warm and look stylish, whatever your taste is when you select such a thing. So people buy outcomes; they don't buy what those things are. So you as a job seeker, or you as an employee, they're buying the outcomes of why would they justify paying you? What are you either doing to reduce costs, increase revenue? Those are KPIs. That's what you have to lead with, not the activity of I manage teams that do this. I am good at these tasks. Nobody cares. That's the secondary piece of how you get the results you get, because you do these other things well, but you've got to lead with the KPIs. You've got to lead with revenues. It's always 4 things. Write them down. You'll remember them. How you help a hiring manager or a company make money, save time, reduce stress. That's it. So anything out of your mouth about here's what I do should tie into one or more of those 4 things. Now you've got someone's complete attention if you talk about it in regards to the way how they're measured and what they do. As far as that goes. Luke, can you go to the next slide? And so there's a great quote, for a sailboat with no destination, there's no such thing as a favorable wind. So when we start working with people, take a step back first. And I call it career clarity, and go, let's put the job aside for a minute. What do you want to be when you grow up? And that's just my funny way of saying, like, what do you want your legacy to be? Where do you see yourself in 20 years? Like, what are you good at? What are the things, the kind of work that you're good at that just comes naturally to you? Sometimes we dismiss or diminish the value of things that come easily to us. But just like, Michael Jordan's just naturally good at basketball. Well, not everybody is, right? So if there's things that you're naturally good at, we can lean into those with your brand, because that's one of your superpowers. And then the other thing is, what kind of work are you passionate about? So you think about 2 job descriptions that are basically the same, title and pay about the same, but of what you would be doing, like a day in the life or week in the life in a certain job. If one of those has you doing things that you're passionate about, that you enjoy, things that you enjoy about your work, and things that you're good at, you're going to be a better fit. You won't be as exhausted at the end of a given day. You're going to feel a better sense of commitment for the work that you're doing. And so when we get clear about who are you and what's your vision for your life, it's so much easier now. Overlay the job and the career on top of that and go, okay, what company cultures are a good fit? I would say, it might make you chuckle, the 2 situations that you get into where you have a first conversation, you don't know really what you're getting into. Our first date and a job interview, am I right? So we have a tool, a data scraping tool, where we can find out the personality of anybody that's interviewing you to know how they want to be talked to. Okay, this person, you want to come in very hard-nosed, talking about numbers. Okay, this person, a little more things that they won't consciously know about themselves even, usually. Be a little more relaxed, talk about a creative idea you could bring to the position. Because the big shift here is this. Paradigm coming in, crowded job market. And I know where it comes from, because I have gritted through tears on things I didn't get when I was trying to take care of my family and couldn't land a job. I know what it's like. But if that desperation spills over into your interviewing, If you're showing up really needing to get a job, I get it, but it doesn't help. So instead, coming from a grounded place, you're not showing up to get a job, you're showing up to give value to the human beings that have the position posted. And what problems do they need solved? And how's that impacting them because they haven't had the right person in this role? And what are the goals they need to achieve? And because they haven't met those goals, where else is that holding them up and where they could be spending their attention for everything they're responsible for? That is a more meaningful conversation that resonates with people to show that you really do care and you really are trying to help. And it's all the difference in the world. Next slide. So when you come up with a brand, the three things are know, like, and trust. So these are some things if you're in the job market, or it's not even just looking for a new job. I mean, the stuff that we're talking about here, we help people get fractional work, consulting gigs, speaking opportunities. We're helping a guy write a book. And some of these are things that aren't even in the formal program. I just try to do right by people, and I have the ability to do things over and above even what we formally do, and we just try to meet people where they are and take care of them. But know, like, and trust. So know is they've got to know your journey, know where you've come from. And that informs the paradigm you come in with as far as the way you solve problems, methodologies you employ, different areas you've worked in. Constraints or challenges you've overcome. All of that is helping to get to know you. Like is likability, common ground. We spend so much time on differences, and I think we absolutely want to honor diversity. I'm not saying anything against that. What I'm saying is it's the similarities that bring us together. And so there's certain things that are important to all of us. We all care about our families. We all care about feeling valued and respected. We all care about things that we're passionate about or whatever. And so it's like, but what can I do to show up to say, hey, this person's like me? It's funny, we spend so much time on, not so much time, but we spend a focus on executive presence because it's important, especially for the level of leaders that, leadership roles that a lot of our people either have or are looking to get. Some people are so good at executive presence, they're damn near intimidating. For those guys, we got to go, okay, you need to go the other direction. You got to smile. So it is important. Likability is, you got to think, they're not thinking this out loud, but in their head, maybe at a subconscious level, are they thinking, okay, I can see myself working with this person day to day. I can see enjoying a beer at a conference, at the hotel or whatever, right? They're not thinking that consciously, but do they get a good feel, a good vibe for interacting with you? And then trust is two parts. I call it the two C's, character and competence. Character is you have integrity, you're dependable, you do what you say you're going to do. Competence is you're really good at the job that you're being hired for. You're really good at the work. You have the chops to do the position. And so again, and I think I talked about it earlier, so I'll skim past this briefly, but interviewing to give value, not to get a job, is a big shift from a thematic sense when you are looking for an opportunity. Next slide. So this is kind of our system, essentially getting that career clarity and defining your brand. And then we build out your brand assets for LinkedIn, website, resumes, some other, I call it like marketing materials for job seekers. We kind of really see ourselves as like the same way professional athletes and entertainers and movie stars have talent agents. We kind of see ourselves as that for the corporate sect, because people don't stay with companies anymore. So you get lifetime access into our community, and we're just kind of here as people go through. This isn't just about the next job. It's having a fellowship, a guild, community of people that are supporting you with professionals to help you with the roles that you're getting and looking for kind of throughout. And then applying for jobs for people, helping them get into backdoor conversations in the hidden job market with a networking strategy, how to master the interview, and then a kind of a game plan, action planning and elevated execution. Eddie Dunn, who is a big contributor in the veteran community, is my program director, and he is our expert at handles the interview mastery and the action planning piece for our clients. I work with people directly on brand, and we've got different, we've got 4 of us coaches kind of throughout, but I've got now maybe almost 40 people that work for me that help our clients in any number of ways to land jobs, and especially this market. We had a record December. Usually nobody gets hired in December. We had 21 people land. It was insane. We had people getting offers 2 days before Christmas. I've never seen such a thing. And the thing is, the market's worse than it's ever been. So it lets us know that what we're doing works. Next slide. So this is the community people get lifetime access to. It's just a couple of screenshots here, honestly. But yeah, it's a real vibrant, thriving community of individuals that are supporting each other, helping each other. Yeah, there's the networking piece, but I don't see it at a human level. I've had clients say, I've met people in this program I'm going to know the rest of my life. I think that's really strong. I think that's beautiful. And so if you're looking for a home, we've got one. Next slide. So, when it comes to like life and career alignment, I think about Carl Jung has this great quote here. If we fail to make the unconscious conscious, it will rule our lives and we'll call it fate. And we want to be able to get aligned to, what it is that's holding us back. So if you have PTSD, or whether you're military or not, a lot of people, rather things in your childhood, a lot of us go through a lot of things that get baked into our subconscious by age 7 even. But these things hold us back, and they color the way our paradigm works. They create limiting beliefs. They hold us back. They have us challenge ourselves in ways that don't serve us. And one of the big things we do is helping people kind of break through that stuff to redefine how they pursue things, how they perceive things in a way that is really powerful and helps them get results. And it's kind of, I always call it the sleeper component, because everybody that comes is coming for the job, which is fine. But what I say is, this isn't about getting a job. This is about future-proofing your career and elevating yourself. And oh, by the way, one of the byproducts is you're going to get a job. And so that's a big, big piece of it. And it's not even about the mindfulness per se by itself. Remember, people buy outcomes, not activities. Whether it's, 3 or 4 weeks into our program, sometimes I'll have people get on our group calls and they go, this mindfulness stuff is crazy. This has changed my life. I go, what do you mean? They go, you don't understand. Like, I don't fight with my wife anymore. I haven't slept this well in 20 years. I've lost 10 pounds. I've been fighting with for forever without having to change my diet or work out. This is incredible. It's like, yeah, it's been trying to tell you guys. By the way, you're going to show up more measured and centered on interviews. People are going to like you more than they won't even know why. And people are drawn to that. And it's going to help you land where you want to go. Next slide. This is Michael Thomas. He was a veteran. He worked in logistics. And when he talked to us, he was a little more junior than our usual avatar, but he had so much heart and determination. And I said, okay, well, let me see, because I got to have enough to work with to build a brand around. And he told me about that he wanted to get into project management, and he had the forethought and the momentum and the diligence to get a PMP certification, a Six Sigma Green or Black Belt, and was getting his master's degree, and really was elevating himself for that project management space. And I said, tell me about logistics. Like, what did you do? And he said, I was in charge of these projects, tearing down bases and moving all the equipment, supplies, munitions, whatever, to these different places. And we talked for a bit, and I said, all right, so what was the value of all of those things when you worked at these bases? And he said, oh, like $1 billion or something like that per base. I was like, okay, I can work with you, because I could leverage that number. He landed in record time, and as you see here, 21 years of experience as a veteran. Talked about working with us, really helped him a lot, and was grateful to kind of join us. And anyway, he was very well received, super guy. He got a job at UPS's corporate office. He said that the things that we helped him do, helped him get across the line, and he's just a salt of the earth kind of guy. And we're really grateful to get a chance to work with him and help him. Next slide. That's pretty much it for me. This is where you can find me if you want to learn more. There's different things that we do to help, and then we've got some different resources we can provide. One thing I was offering here is a free job search strategy report. If you schedule a call, these things are pretty sophisticated. We built our own AI and ran over 800 executives through it to drill down to a granular level of your SWOT analysis as a job seeker, to know like what your strengths, your weaknesses are, opportunities and threats, and then who you're competing against for the same positions, and how to help you personally stand out against those people. And then companies that are hiring right now for the roles that you're identified for with potential pay bands of low, medium, and high. It's very, very detailed. And so anybody that's here today wants to take part in that, I can get on a call and go through that with you myself, for nothing. And just, if that helps you and that's enough, then that's fine. That's also our roadmap on how we work with clients. But essentially, this is kind of what we do. But at the end of the day, I feel very grateful to get to, work in the space. And I see this as become more of a soul mission than anything else. But I appreciate everybody that's here. I appreciate Luke and parting with Luke and getting a chance to share with you guys kind of what I do. And if you need anything, please reach out. Thank you, Luke.
Thank you, Paul. I really appreciate your storytelling and sharing the truth with our folks here. It means a lot. And you had some great positive feedback. Some folks saying they really loved it. So really appreciate you doing that today. Like I said earlier, I'm in this program and I think it's phenomenal. And I just wanted to share it with everyone here.